Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about Solos, Episode 5, Jenny. Solos is an anthology science fiction drama on Amazon Prime. It came out like last year, I believe, and it only lasted for one season. There are multiple episodes, but I'm only talking about episode 5. That's the only one I wanted to watch because it has Constant Wu in there. The other ones have other actors and actresses that I know of. I might watch those. I don't know. I just wanted to see something with Constant Wu because I haven't seen anything with her since Fresh Off the Boat. And, she went through that hard time and depression and almost took her own life. And, I just want to see something with her in it and stuff. And so I might watch the other ones. I don't know. I really wasn't even aware of this series until I got Amazon Prime a month ago because I had to order something like crap. I don't want another streaming site, but I haven't watched anything on it until last night. I watched this episode and Absentina, and I'm probably gonna watch something else. And so when I saw Constance Wu was in it, I'm just like, oh cool, you know what I'm saying? I'll watch it. This is a really interesting show. It deals with monologues. And so when I was watching this episode, I was very confused because I didn't know that. And I'm all like, what is she rambling about? And she keeps talking about sex a lot. But then it turns into something completely different. I have to say, I've always been a fan of Constance Wu ever since Fresh Off the Boat. She was my all-time favorite character, which is why, because the first season and the entire series is supposed to revolve around Eddie, the real-life person that the show is based off of. But then, because Constance Wu was such a huge hit on the show in the first season, the second season had her in a lot more. And then the show started to kind of revolve around her, as well as the rest of the family, but mostly around her. She was the breakout star of that series. And, and she's always in my favorite. I always thought her accent was real, but that was a fake accent and Fresh Off the Boat. And so, I was thrilled to see her finally get to do something different, because I know that the reason why that show got canceled was because of her, because she wanted to do other things. She talked about how she likes to try different genres and different styles, and she doesn't want just one type of acting gig and stuff like that. And she's been doing a lot of different stuff. She has another Amazon series with Chris Pratt. I think they're special agents or something like that. She was in Hustlers as a stripper, and that one movie with J-Lo. And then she's in some Lao crocodile movie about some CGI crocodile that comes to life in the real world, and I have no idea what that's about. Stuff. But she's trying different things, and so this is to best describe this episode, or at least this show, think of a theatrical play where it's just a person doing a monologue or a one-person show. That's basically what this episode is about, and probably the entire series. But then again, like I said before, I've never watched the entire series. Now, she is the only person who appears in this series, but there are two people who appear from the back view, and you only hear their voices towards the end. But it's all her, and she's really entertaining in this, and she gets to do different facets. First, she's kind of happy, horny, then she's silly, then she gets sad and depressed, and then she gets devastated. It is truly a great performance and everything. And people should really, Hollywood should really be invested in casting her in more stuff. And, because she's a really good actress, versatile, she's a woman of color, and, Hollywood needs to really step up its game more, especially now since a lot of stuff is bombing and stuff. And, you need real talent. That's one thing that pisses me off about Hollywood is that, you get all these athletes and singers and models and reality stars, and they're getting all these huge roles, but they can't act. And that's something that's always pissed me off. And so with this, she's wearing like a white dress, and she has these like fake angel wings on her, and she's in a waiting room, and she's just there, and she's looking into the camera, and she's just bored out her mind, and she's tired of waiting, so she tries to, like, I guess, entertain herself, or to at least talk to the camera that's there in the waiting room, or just talk to herself. And so at first I was very, very confused. I had no idea what the world this episode was about, or even what this show is about, because she kept, like, the first couple of minutes she just kept rambling about sex and everything, and it's about like 30 minutes long. And so she's just constantly talking about sex and different, like, this is and that, and she's very vulgar too, like she's very blunt, and there are no innuendos in that monologue speech and everything. And so she's talking about, like, her marriage and stuff, and how it's not, like, doing well. And then she talks about how she thinks her neighbor is hot and she wants to seduce him, but she can't think of a way to do it. So then she thinks, oh, wait a minute, I'll just, like, she talks about how everybody likes her, everybody wants to be her friend, even the neighbor's son wants to be her friend. So she kind of uses the neighbor's son to get in good with his father. But the neighbor's son just wants to talk about Spider-Man. That made me happy hearing about that. Sure, the other stuff too, but I always like hearing about Spider-Man. And so, it's like one of those neighbors things where you just bond with, like, the kids, which I've never liked that idea. Like, I never liked the idea of adults bonding with little kids. It's just always weird. I mean, yeah, when I was little, I did it too to my neighbors. Like, when I was little, I bonded with, like, the adults and also the kids. But I don't know. Now that I'm older, I just find it creepy and stuff. And nowadays, you gotta be real careful and stuff. And so, like, then she goes and she starts talking about that. But then all of a sudden, she's so random. She keeps jumping from one conversation to another. And then she starts talking about how she started drinking more and everything, and it just started leading to one bottle after, like, another. And then one time, hanging out at the club and stuff like that, and meeting some person, something like that. And then came the reality of, like, oh crap, dude, I'm pregnant. And something she just didn't want to, like, be. I think she said something about the aspect of having kids is something, I think it's something she never really wanted, or something like that, or never planned for. And so, but then the guy who she got pregnant with, him and her are kind of like, whatever and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, she's wearing a dress and she's around all these people, and then all of a sudden there is blood on her dress. She had a miscarriage and she is devastated beyond belief. This is when the episode starts to get very, very, very dark and stuff. That led to extreme depression and everything, and her chugging bottles and her constantly going to the bars and just, like, one bottle after another, after another, after another, because she can't deal with the grief of losing her child, and also who her past marriage and whoever that person was that, like, knocked her up and stuff. So then she just wanted to go home and just not deal with nothing. And her home is around the corner from the bar. She's had too many drinks, she said. But she thinks, oh, whatever, it's just around the corner, I'll be fine. But this is when it starts to get more and more darker in her monologue, and her tone shifts. When she was talking about, like, the sex and all this other stuff, she was all had, like, a big smile on her face. Then it goes to complete sadness, and she just wanted to get home as fast as she could, so she just hit, like, the gas pedal as hard as she could, and she's speeding down the road, and she's speeding and she's speeding and she's speeding. But then she's not quite sure what happened after that. Like, she remembers waking up and then there's blood everywhere, and something about somebody, like, it was something like she was banged up and she's hearing voices, and something about Spider-Man. And then it hits her. She realizes now what she did. She got into a car accident, and her neighbor's kid was in her driveway at night, and she plowed right into him and murdered him and everything. And she is beyond, like, belief, and she is just beside herself, and she cannot believe what she did. She took a life. She made a tragic mistake, got stupid at like a bar, got super drunk and drove, which is something you should never do. Some people, I used to hate that. I'll be out with my friends, they'd be drinking and they'll be like driving. And I'm just kind of like, ah, crap, please don't get in no like accident when I was in college and stuff like that. Because you never know. Sometimes it just takes one bottle just to mess you up and impair your vision and everything. And she talks about how she can't really see. Everything's like all blurry. And she is just devastated. She took the life of a little kid who she befriended just so she can get with his dad. Then the episode pulls an M. Night Shyamalan on us, where we see her laying on like some type of scientific medical bed and all this weird stuff is hooked up to her. And then somebody's pulling out a flash drive. And it's the two guys who we see from the back. They're like scientists and stuff. Um, and they're talking about, oh yeah, that's that kid killer and everything, and blah blah blah. And they're all like, well, what memory should we upload now? And I'm just like, what the heck? And so yes, after all that had happened and everything in real life, she's like on this like medical bed and everything, and they're like feeding her back her memories. This is why every conversation kept being as random can be, because they kept inserting one memory at a time and stuff. And they decided, should they give them all her memories back now or at like, different days and stuff. And it just ends. The ending is a little weird, that twist ending, but it is a twist ending nevertheless that really shocks you and everything, which is a twist ending is supposed to do. But I do love the delivery in the monologue that like Constant Wu gave. It's really something. Like people should really watch this and stuff. And because like people really don't think of her as like an award like attender and stuff like that, but she really should be. Like she's really good at like acting and stuff. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.